I sleep in even a smidgen longer, I usually get up super early. If I get up super early, I avoid the blahs, oddly. If I sleep in a little bit late, like sometimes I wake up and I don't feel like getting up, and it's so early, it's like, well, why should I get up at this hour, you know? And then I sleep in, like, you know, another hour, till 5:30 or 6. And when I wake up for the second time, it's like the blahs are there, the depressive, and I'm wondering what brings it on. I had a weird dream this morning, and usually dreams aren't positive or happy. I've never, it's once in my entire life have I ever had, we want to go. Once in my entire life have I ever had a positive dream. Usually they're depressive or weird or whatever. So anyway, so then it becomes, you know, like 5 to 10 times harder to get up in the morning, because I think the brain wants to work out whatever issues exist. And some people have, you know, and issues are put on people. So it may not even be, it's not really the person's fault, you know. And it's like, if those things can be worked out, like wrongs that have been done to someone or what have you, against oneself from others, you know, anyway, I find it fascinating that there's these morning blues very often. I know like 90% of America is on some sort of pharmaceutical product just to get past the blues. And it shouldn't have to be that way, right? Like, life shouldn't be like that. I guess in the past it would have been alcohol. Now it's pharmaceutical products and or other things. So anyway, little plug for betterhealth.com. You get to pick and choose, you know, to see who your best fit is. Oddly, when I was in Florida, I talked to someone who wasn't licensed as the type of therapist to, say, give a PTSD diagnosis or what have you. She was more like in the licensed social worker realm. I forget her exact. I loved her best just talking to her on the phone, because she could see that I had been tortured. So, transit police. Which way? And oddly, I couldn't find anyone quite like her. Like, the therapist I wound up talking to was actually abusive. And it's like, can I have that woman back, please? Because the people I found in Florida it was on the odd side. They were both male, and often, not all the time, but in many cases, it is better to have a female who understands the life of women, you know, in a world that's still dominated by men. Let's face it, you know, who's in charge, you know. It's better to have people who understand what it's like to live in a world where men can rough you up either mentally or physically at any point in time. And even though women are pretty good at the mental, but typically we don't love roughing people up. So I even find the cross signal abusive, because most people know when to walk or not. They don't need it's not a deaf corner or anything. So anyway, point being, I wish I could talk to her, and I wish she could have. I don't have a formal diagnosis because I've rarely had insurance, and if I can qualify for insurance through a special program, they don't accept it here. They have a lot of cash only. They'll give a reimbursement. You have to pay yourself up front, and then they reimburse. Like, you have to send in a reimbursement slip or whatever to your insurance company. And a lot of people who need therapy are often people who are actually in dire straits, right? So how would they have insurance? And if they're lucky, they have a place of employment, which they probably hate, which is why they're at therapy, or in therapy. But anyway, it's kind of a scam to be a therapist or a therapy office that accepts cash only. They won't allow for you to fill out a form for your insurance in office. A legit therapist will take the insurance information, verify that it exists, like you can do that, and then file a claim with the insurance company. That's how most of the medical field works. Most people don't self-pay in the office, you know what I mean? A little windy here. It's interesting too that a lot of people don't feel like adults if they can't afford to have a home, a mortgage, this, that, and the other. But if you really look a lot around, there are a lot of people in those situations who are considered teenagers, even in their relationships with their husbands, and so forth and so on. I thought that was interesting. A lot of people who have had to adult have had to be single to survive, to protect themselves from a bad situation or something. Food for thought. Windy on Market. It's a wider street, so the smaller streets didn't have this. Someone's horn alarm went off here.